And we are live back at it again for episode 4. Welcome to CN7 Sports Media. I am your host. My name is Marcus. If you are new here, I am also the CEO of this wonderful company. This company was brought together by a group of friends who do not know what the hell we're doing. But most importantly, we're all here to have fun. And if you guys joined us last week, we had a bunch of fun. There was a bunch of nerves, but ultimately we got it done. If you guys haven't already, we have an Instagram and a TikTok, and we've already spoken about this, but Tomas is actually running it, and he's doing a fantastic job. So shout out to Tomas. Also, before I introduce the rest of our members, because we do have a new member, if y'all remember from last week, or if this is y'all's first episode, we do have a new member. I want to give a quick shout out to Lucas's brother, Matthew. He is our number one supporter. When we start making merch, we got to get him a full merch drop, because he has watched every episode at least like 2 or 3 times. And so, Matthew, I know you're watching this. We love you, man, from the bottom of our hearts, from the whole CN7 Sports Media family. We appreciate you. If you can share it across all your friends at school, that would be even better. But we love you and we appreciate you. Thank you. So, further ado, I'm going to shut up for a little bit, and we're going to go ahead and hit introductions. So, first and foremost, my childhood best friends. Go ahead, Caleb.
What's going on, guys? Ready for the next episode? Let's go Chiefs. Let's go Royals, man. I'm excited, man. Let's get to it.
And next to him, the GOATs, the OG, the man that's only worn one pair of jeans in his entire life, but he is the funniest man alive. Tomas!
What's up, everyone? You already know I've been posting the clips on the Insta and the TikTok. I can't wait to get more clips out there for y'all. Get more clips from this episode later on when it's uploaded, maybe around Friday. Get 3 clips maybe during the weekend, and yeah.
And third, but not least, because y'all forgot, we got one more guy. The guy who could never beat me in basketball, but he most definitely tried in my front lawn. He can argue whatever he wants, but at the same time, he could only kick my butt in soccer. My childhood friend and neighbor, Lucas.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back. I'm excited for this episode. We got some fun things to talk about. We got baseball, we got F1, we got soccer, we got more football. Stay tuned, watch till the end, and can't wait. It's going to be a good one.
And last but not least, another one of my childhood best friends. Met the guy in 8th grade. One of the most awkward interactions of my life, but nonetheless, one of the most pure, wholesome people I've ever met. And I consider him a brother, just like the rest of them. He's our new guest. He's here to stay. And on top of that, the most exciting thing is all the cool graphics and all the cool headlines that y'all are going to see from now on. He's going to be in charge of that. And there's no other man that I'd rather trust with that than Christian, who is also Lucas's brother.
What's up, everyone? I'm excited to be here, and I'm stoked to see what we got going on today. So let's get this thing rolling.
Oh, hell yeah. We are freaking back for episode 4. 2 weeks in a row so far, and we're only getting better. We're only growing. Episode 4 turned out really well compared to episode 1 and 2, and we're only growing. I'm super excited to have everybody back here, and we have so much more planned for you guys coming up. We have March Madness, we have the NFL Combine, we have NFL Draft. There's so much stuff that we have planned for you guys, and also there's a special announcement that we have at the end of the video if you stayed. So without further ado, let's get this going. So a quick overview of today's topics. We're going to talk a little bit about college football. We're going to talk about, we're going to have our we're going to have our CN7 Sports Media mock draft going on. That's super exciting. And then we're going to go with some more NFL offseason talk. That's going to be led by Caleb and Lucas. And we're also going to implement 2 new segments. Will be a soccer and baseball segment, which will be led by Christian and Lucas as well. And Caleb will chime in if need be. Lastly, as always, we will talk about Formula One, because there's a lot of shit going on in Formula One that has a lot of problems. And so we're going to go over it. So without further ado, let's get within the first segment. So, boys, as a rumor mill has been going on, we all know that originally the NCAA had denied Trinidad Chambliss's waiver twice. But ultimately, later on, it got ruled in his favor by a judge in Mississippi. So there's a little controversy there. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm excited to see Trinidad return. Honestly, he deserves it. We see all the time old quarterbacks in college football. We all know Carson Beck. Last year before he entered the draft, we had Tyler Shaw. Yeah, some of these guys stayed in NCAA football playing so many years due to injuries and stuff. But I think it's only fair to let Trinidad play. I mean, they let Diego Pavia, and he came from JUCO. Yeah, you can do the argument that Trinidad came from NCAA source already coming from D2 to the Division One. That's a big jump as well. We all know that. So I think it's only fair that he got this other year to play. Congratulations to him. Excited to see what he does this upcoming year.
Moss?
Yeah, man. If you're an Ole Miss fan, bro, you're gonna love Trinidad coming back for your team. I mean, what he did for your team last year is just absolutely outstanding. The only thing that really argument that I see people saying like, "Oh, it's not good. He's another year. You know, you're already old," is that what happened to being when you're a kid playing football? Your dream is to go to the NFL. Why do you want to play 6 years of college football? I mean, the NIL is, kind of really messing that up because he's going to make more money most likely this year than if he went to the NFL draft and got drafted in, I'd say arguably the third or fourth round, maybe. That's a big maybe. And it's worth it for him for his career. I mean, he could the quarterback draft next year is going to be way more stacked. But I mean, it's just giving him more film. People are saying, "Oh, he only had 1 year of D1 football." Well, now he has 2. I mean, I think that's going to be an amazing thing for him, and I hope he has an amazing season.
Luke?
Bro, get out of here, man. Leave. Go to the NFL. Make a name for yourself there. I'm with Tomas, man. I hate the fact that we're giving these players 6 years of eligibility, man. Like, if you're not good enough to go to the NFL, then stop playing. If you know your confidence isn't there, you're not going to make it in college. You're definitely not going to make it in the NFL. So like I said, Caleb brought him up. Diego Pavia, guy from NMSU. But like, man, dude, just move on. Get out of here. Go to the NFL. Try to make a career. Make a name for yourself there. Like Tomas said again, like that's where you want to go. You want to go to the NFL. And the fact that we got so many guys wanting to stay in college so many years and are too scared to move on, like, get out. Like, go make a name for yourself there. Don't sit around playing with kids who are 4 years younger than you. Or coaches are, your dads. Like, bro, just get out. Go to the NFL. Go to where it really matters. Make a difference there, not in college. Especially knowing the quarterback room for the draft this year is not that great. Like, go and try it. You have the chance. This is probably I think he should have gone this year instead of waiting to go next year. I think this year teams need quarterbacks. There's not many quarterbacks in the draft. He has a name. I think he would have been successful going to the draft this year. So I guess now we'll wait to see where he goes.
So where do you think he would have landed if he would have gone into the draft this year?
Well, I don't know. I mean, in all honesty, of course, you got number 1 pick. It's a given. I think as far as quarterbacks, for sure, I would say top 10, just because I don't even know who the heck is in it for quarterbacks. But I'd say get out, man. Go to the NFL. Go make a career for yourself there.
And Christian.
I mean, man, this past season there, what he did at Ole Miss with the ability to throw the ball, to make plays on the run with his legs. I mean, he was great. So like Tomas said, Ole Miss fans are going to be excited for him to come back. We'll see what the deal is going to be with Ole Miss and their whole coaching situation. If it's going to be, who was, I think, the offensive coordinator, right? Who took over for the rest of the season.
Yeah. I think it was their offensive or defensive. It was one or the other.
One of the coordinators.
But in terms of, it's a huge toss up because like I see where Caleb is coming from, but I agree a lot with like Lucas and Tomas. In terms of like, we'll get into this segment right after this, but it's just like, dude, you're going into your 6th year. And it's the fact that you're taking away the chance for somebody to come in after you and make a name for themselves. Granted, you did come from D2. You won a championship at D2, and now you're moving up. But it's more so the fact that like come on, man. Like at this point, just if like Lucas said, if you're not confident enough to go to the league, then just don't go. Don't go. You know, and that perfectly transitions into us into NIL, which is the fact that Lucas touched on this. Lucas just touched on this, which is a lot of players are making way more now, and that's why they'll stay an extra year or two. Press it back. That's why they'll stay with stay in the year for the college for an extra year or two because they know that they're going to make a lot more money than if they were to go to the draft. Carson Beck is a perfect example. He's being forced to go to the draft because that dude is old. Man graduated 2 years ago. It would just be weird if he played an eighth year, which is impossible to do. Actually, it's not impossible if he was injured a few years, but um, yeah, so it's just more so of the fact that, like, yeah, I see it, but you're just money hungry at that point, you know? Like, I keep touching base with like what Lucas said, but it's like whatever happened to the dream of like when you're a kid and you're in football. I'm pretty sure when all of us played football, we all wanted to go to the NFL, you know, except for Christian. His God given talent, as well as Lucas, is soccer. But Christian was stupidly fast in eighth grade and seventh grade. But that's besides the point. But a lot of the kids, you know, their whole dream was to go to the league. But now all of a sudden you just want to stay in college for 7 years. What? And NIL as a whole, me and Caleb talked about this. I think Caleb talked about this last week. It's a beautiful, ugly thing. It's beautiful because kids for you're finally rewarding kids for their hard work. But at the same time, I watched the clip of Bo Jackson the other day where it was like your hard work was busting your ass to get to college. Your hard work and your awards was getting that scholarship to that 5-figure school, you know, per semester. You know, that like Georgia, Texas, all these big name schools, those are really expensive. So not only are you getting a full ride, but you're also getting a chance to play on national television, show off your skills. You're getting free stuff left and right. It's just all these benefits. And to me, you know, if I ever got the God given, you know, chance to go play for Texas, that would be my reward. I wouldn't want no money because that's my life. My money should come from when I bust my ass in college, make a name for myself, go to the league and make the big bucks. That's where I have a problem. But you have all these players demanding an X amount of money, and it's just bullshit. And you know, I'm a big Texas fan, but when I saw that they were the number one team to like in terms of how much they spend in NIL, it blew my damn mind. $40 million on NIL, like holy shit, bro! Just to take a team, like now it's more so of like those games that are pay to win, and NIL is more so making it pay to win. And we talked about this in episode 1. I think it was episode 1 or 2, where it was more so the like all these teams that you never think would win with NIL, anything could happen. Now, hear me out. Indiana was a beautiful, different story because they only had five stars compared to everybody else, but they had freaking Fernando Mendoza at the same time. But if we're looking at it now, like Notre Dame were nobodies not that long ago, and all of a sudden NIL came around. Look at them and the Natty. So it's just like I said, it's just a gift and a curse because there's no drive to want to go play ball. If you're gonna pay me, I'll go. Or whoever's gonna pay me. They don't even have a dang dream school. It's how much you're gonna pay me, am I gonna play? There's no earning shit now. There's nothing like that, you know? And that's what I hate about it. Caleb?
Yep. So exactly what you said, man. NIL is a beautiful but such an ugly thing. It does take a lot of the love of the game out of these players, you know? It's no more of that heart, like you said, for the inner kids that want to come to a school and just like, hey, I just want to play here. This has been my dream. It's all about money now. Same with this exact same for coaches too. You've seen how Lane Kiffin flipped to LSU and wants to go coach LSU because they're going to have a way bigger NIL portal there to get more talent and all that. So loyalty is pretty much out the window. And college football is evolving to a way it's semi-pro football now. We're gonna have to implement, I think, contracts. I think that's what they should do. Is schools should implement contracts with these kids because I think, but it would have to be after the signing, of course. Once they're actually on campus. Because I look at last year's number one quarterback, Bryce Underwood. He was committed to LSU, was full dead set going to LSU. Next thing is Michigan comes in with that bag and just flips to Michigan. He's like, hell yeah, going to Michigan. And that's what all these kids are doing, man. They just want to go chase the bag, like you said. And I mean, that's about what I get. What I got. It's a money game now, dude.
Yeah, and before we switch to Moss, I have a couple more things to say about the topic. Like, I think we might have touched on this last week, but it's more so the fact that it's taking away those high school recruit opportunities. There's a lot of teams that don't want to recruit high school recruits because of the fact that, well, shit, we can just go to the portal, get somebody who's played already a couple of years, go grab them. It's
Exactly.
no brainer. Why the
Yeah.
hell would you want somebody who just came out of high school, has no experience playing anybody at that high of a level yet, when you can already go grab somebody who's already been there a year or two? And yeah, it just sucks, man. Like, as college football is like always been about loyalty. The fan bases are everything to these teams. The fan bases are everything. And, it just sucks when, as a Texas fan, we lost so many people to the transfer portal. All these guys that swore up and down that they were burnt orange the day I die. You're burnt orange to the day you die until you see a bag of change. And that's what sucks, man. Because when Cam Coleman, Texas Longhorns got Cam Coleman, but imagine how the bidding war we had to get for that guy. He didn't come to Texas because he wanted to play there. He came to Texas because we offered him the most amount of money. And that sucks, man. That absolutely sucks. Moss.
Yeah, man, that's a great example right there. Cam Coleman was probably the number one player in the portal, I'd say. And yeah, I mean, I just really didn't see him being a Texas Longhorn. It's a good thing he is. Hopefully, he has a great career there. But yeah, I really didn't see him as a Texas kind of guy. But also, the number one safety, Kate Perch, who uh, also flipped. He went to Texas Tech for a visit, but he flipped to Oregon last second, which I'm pretty sure was for the bag. I'm pretty sure it was for the bag and not really just because the school's better. I mean, Oregon probably is a better school, but yeah, the whole NIL situation, it does suck that, yeah, you can just play players that already been in college X amount of money, then bring in recruits. And realistically, if you're bringing in a 3 or 4 star, you're not gonna really pay them anything, maybe at all. Maybe you do pay them, but I feel like there should be an X amount you can sign a college player to. I know that's kind of probably controversial, but say like 5 stars could get paid up to maybe like $3 million a year, which is still an insane amount of money. But these guys are working day and night for to get paid. It should be paid in the NFL, but I mean, getting paid in college is pretty good too for them. But yeah, man, there should be a cap hit or something. Like, these bigger schools shouldn't have the crazy amount of resources just because they got the money. Like, for example, I'm sorry, Killer, but Texas Tech, they got the oil money. They could basically throw money at a wall, and whoever it sticks on, they land. You know what I mean? It's just mind blowing to me. Yeah, that's really my take.
And then you think about it, right? 'Cause, I mean, I looked it up. Average salary for an NFL player. This is average, so not even the top of the top, right? Like your Patrick Mahomes or anything like that. Like your average, 3.2 million to 5.2 million. So how much of that plays into the decision for these kids, for these college kids? Like, you know what? I would make this much in the NFL. I can still make that here too, while I'm still here at college. So how much of that plays into the degree? And then you go and you think, okay, back when we were younger, we think, okay, you want to leave a destiny. You go there because of who was there before you. And you want to go there because you want people to remember your name after you. So it's like, okay, I mean, sure, there's some people that will go and that is part of their decision too. But then too, like now, you throw in the factor of money and okay, all these deals from whether it be brand names, so I mean, we just live in a completely different world now, completely different.
Luke?
Yeah, no, 100%. I am so against the NIL, man. I mean, kind of just the points y'all covered. Like, yeah, like just as a kid growing up, you're like, man, like I want to go to college, not because for like money was never a part of it. It was always like, how can I get money to go to college to play? Not I'm gonna go to school to get money. And I mean, again, good for them. I'm glad they are having success, but I think it's a perfect point I brought up is like, man, like how are these lower schools supposed to pay, for these big players? Like you got the schools like Texas and Tech and Georgia, Miami, but what about NMSU? What about UNM? What about, what about those guys who don't have money? They're just going to stay trash forever, and that's what I've noticed here at, New Mexico State is I love our school. Don't be wrong, school spirit, but man, like we suck. Like, and we won't have the money to go get an outstanding QB. I think one of the players I think of is the quarterback that was at Tennessee, Nico. I forgot his last name, but he was pushing for $4 million there at Tennessee, and they didn't give it to him. He's like, okay, I'm gonna go find somewhere else. Transfers to UCLA and only gets 1.5 million. Like what we're talking about when they say money ruins it. Like how Christian was saying, like you go to leave a legacy, you go to follow this. Like you go to if you're a quarterback at Tennessee, who you think you're thinking of Peyton Manning? Like you want to follow his, like you don't want to just like yeah, forget it, I'm just gonna go find somewhere else. And I think like Nick Saban said it best, he's like, it's gonna ruin college football, and it has. I think he was spot on when he said that. And it sucks to see how, like you said, the hard work now is not even to go play. The hard work is, oh, if I know I work hard, I can go make money. You know what I mean? And it goes back to this, what I said earlier, like, man, get out of college and go pro. Like just take a chance. Like you're gonna have many years in the NFL, you're gonna have many years in soccer, whatever it is. Like just move on and play because you want it, not the money, but you want the greatness. You want because that's what all those old timers did. They went for the greatness. They didn't care about the money. They wanted. I wanted to make sure that I am here in this college, and I leave my footprint. And now, and now it's just like, yeah, cool. I'm going to go to Texas for a year. Oh, you know what? Oh, my rival at Texas Tech, like, oh, they got me more money. Yeah, I'm just gonna go over there. You know what I mean? Like, just those scenarios. It's kind of like, man, dude, just like I said, commit to a school. Like, truly commit. I don't think there's that passion of wanting to play for a specific school, because as soon as this other team offers you $1.5 million extra, boom, they're on a flight heading over there, signing, and they're there for the next 2 or 3 years. You know what I mean? So I think, like I said, there's pros and cons to everything in this world, but I think there's more cons than there are pros to this in this scenario.
Yeah, a perfect example, like you brought up rivals, right? So throughout like Texas, like throughout like Arch being there, I don't know if y'all know who Parker Livingston is. Like one of the big storylines is that he's Arch Manning's roommate. He's also one of his number one wide receivers to throw to. That is one of those special occurrences that happen where basically he was told, hey, we're going to go get Cam Coleman. Your usage here is not going to be that much. But he grew up a Longhorns fan. He grew up wearing a Longhorns jersey. And his slap in the face to us was, all right, I'm going to go to OU. But me as a Texas fan, I'm like, they're not going to beat us anyway. So that's a lose-lose. But it's certain situations like that that happen all the time, and it just all goes back to the NIL, where it's like, oh, we don't care about you anymore because we don't want to go grab this guy and we want to go pay him this amount. Parker Livingston requested a certain amount, but they went ahead and said, no, you're not worth that much. Granted, he did drop a lot of passes when we needed him to, but that's just a part of growth. And yeah, like I said, that's just one of those occurrences. I have a couple more questions on this topic, which is, or more so issues, which is revolving NIL. A lot of these kids that come to college, that come to play, a lot of them, they get this big old dollar amount, but a lot of them didn't grow up with money. A lot of them never grew up with a guide to like learn how to spend it. They just have a manager, and then they have their family around them who will try to dictate where it goes. And I know that their managers don't give a shit, so they're buying cars, they're buying penthouses. I saw this thing the other day where it was this it was this one big school where a lot of the players are living in penthouses and they're driving really nice cars. They're buying the jewelry. They're buying all these flashy things. But like I said, their managers don't care. They just care if their guy does good, and they care if they get that bag from them and they can feed off them. But they're not going. They're not knowing where to go with all this money. Like me, I'm like we all grew up fortunate enough with our family, but I mean, I'm honest enough to say, and my mom, I know she's watching, she's gonna watch this. I'm terrible with money. So if you gave me that much amount, I wouldn't know what to do. My dumbass would probably end up spending it all. But luckily, I know now. I'm just gonna ask my mom, "Hey, mom, can I spend this much?" And then she'll tell me yes or no. But it's a lot of like I said, there's a lot of them. You're giving them everything, and they don't know what the hell to do with it. And then next thing you know, they're not going to generate generational wealth. They're going to be broke. Caleb?
Yeah, I think, well, it's hard to fix the whole NIL situation, dude. And I can see where you come from because you're giving, these 18-year-olds straight out of high school, 3 point something million dollars, and they're driving Lambos and shit already. But it's hard when you look at it from this perspective, how can you fix it? Because you can't base it off of the school's revenue because every school makes a different amount of money. It's not like the NFL where you're going to have a certain cap space and you're like, hey, every school you're allowed, let's just say, throw out a number, 250 million, because a lot of those schools aren't even going to meet that number. Because I bet if you compare the numbers, Texas to Texas Tech, Texas probably makes way more money than Texas Tech. We know that. You can even just look at their stadiums. I'm not dogging on Texas Tech because I'm a fan of them and all that, but that's what I'm saying. It's such a hard thing because every school makes a certain amount of money, and then you also have to include the third party investors that also throw money into the program and they help out with NIL. So how do you limit it? It's hard.
Tomas? Uh-oh.
Yeah. I don't know. Since they already introduced the money, I mean, there's no way you're taking it out now. There's no way you're taking this money away from these kids. So, I guess you could technically kind of say you've already bit the apple. You already introduced the money. You're not taking it away. And they should have honestly probably fixed that dilemma from the beginning because they know the bigger schools were going to have a lot more resources. I mean, even facility-wise, people would still go to other colleges just because they have better facilities. But now bringing in money into the issue, now, I mean, y'all were saying, there used to be athletes that were born in Texas, raised in Texas, wanted to play for the Longhorns, for example, or there was people from Oregon that wanted to play for Oregon. But now, it's just all about money, really. It's just let's just go and mess around with the money that we have and give it to these high schoolers, and of course they're going to take the money. I would.
I mean, who wouldn't? Luke?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think going back to the money issues with just giving that much money to a kid that young, I think about it like you do. If I had $3 million, like, yeah, I'd buy a car, I'd buy a house, obviously give some to my parents, my brother, but it's just like, I think Tomas explained it perfectly. They already bit to the apple about the money game, and there's no going back. You can't just say, oh, you know what, starting next year, no more NILs. You can't do that. You're too far in. You've committed too much money. You're gonna have to keep it around. But I think what the big schools specifically can do is I think they should have a budget. I really do think hey, I think it'd be more by class than anything. It's like, all right, you're a freshman. The max you get as a freshman is $1 million, for example. Or okay, you're a sophomore. The max we're giving you is, and I'm talking like true sophomores. You know what I mean? I know when you go into 6-year players that I know that's a tougher. Because again, those are adults, but I think they can definitely limit how much they spend, especially the big schools. I think the best goal would be to even out the playing field amongst most schools. Not obviously I'm not saying grab the lowest and highest and meet in the middle, but I think you take your top D1 schools and you're like, all right, guys, like we got so much money, but let's find a way to even it out. That way, again, like how I said, you have a guy who's from New Mexico, New Mexico State, be like, okay, you know what? I can go to a school like Texas or a school like Oregon because my average is weighed out evenly amongst every other player who's coming from Georgia, who's coming from Miami, coming from all these other big schools. I think that is the best way you can try to average the money out to get even players around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there definitely has to be some boundaries that have to be set in stone, and clearly, there isn't, because teams and organizations are doing whatever they want with however much they want, pretty much hosting people and saying, all right, you know what, they can't pay you this much, we'll pay you this much. Come on over here and join us, and so it's like there definitely has to be some boundaries set and some limitations for sure. Even like, well, not Luke. Just give an example. Even if it's like, okay, each class, it's different, or depending on your redshirt year or whatever, fifth year, sixth year, whatever the case may be. But I think, yeah, you can't go back, but there definitely has to be some limitations to it. So then hopefully kind of, what would be the right word? Just to kind of make it better, for the whole sport and beyond football, because this even goes beyond just college football. This spreads into the NCAA overall, all other different types of sports. I mean, I can think of North Carolina basketball right now, which I'm not going to get into that, but I mean, it just goes on and on and on into all these other sports. Okay, how can we make these where we can use these things, but at the same time, okay, where it's not getting out of hand? So it definitely has to be some limitations and some modifying for sure.
Yeah. While we were kind of discussing, I had a couple, like I was just writing some stuff down, and y'all kind of touched on this, but I wanted to kind of deep dive into it a little bit more. So I think I think schools should start implementing contracts. Caleb brought it up earlier, but I'm like, I like when you look at like the legends, when you look at like the greats like Bo Jackson, Tom Brady, like they all talk about like dude, whatever happened to going to school, playing there for 4 years, but getting drafted, then you make money, right? But now we're in a different age. We can't do that too far because we've dug too deep of a damn hole. So now my thing is okay. Yes, we know the transfer portal's open, but I think when you sign a guy, he should be obligated to sign a 2-year contract with us. And with that will come schools will start to get budget caps or caps, like cap space. I think every team should get some sort of cap space, so that way, like Christian said, that way it doesn't become unfair in a sense. That way it doesn't become like Formula One, where the team that has the most money usually or most likely has the best chance of winning the next year. Obviously, that's not always the case, but statistically, it just sucks. So I think implementing a 2-year contracts will be really good, and also adding cap space as well, or adding cap to schools would be good too. And the thing with players is like, dude, you get an argument with the coach, you're like, oh, I'm gonna go, and then they go pout and want to go somewhere else because they want to be babied. They want to be treated like kings. You haven't done shit yet, bro. You haven't done a damn thing. And so yeah, that's one of my main takes. What do y'all think?
I like it. I really do like the contract idea. While you were mentioning that, a thought came to my mind. So back then, with how the transfer portal used to work, pre NIL and stuff like that, to transfer to another school, you had to basically sit out a year. You couldn't play. I think I don't know if you were able to play at all or if you were only limited to a certain amount of snaps, and then you can transfer. Which that's what happened to Jalen Hurts. When he was playing quarterback at Alabama, and then Tua came in and took his spot, he willingly told Nick Saban, he was like, I'll sit behind Tua for a year, and then he transferred to Oklahoma. And I think maybe that's what they should implement too, because I think it's BS, that you have these players that they'll play the whole season with the team, and then they just up and hit the portal, like you said. They're like, hey, I'm transferring just because we had a bad season or whatever happened, and they're under NIL contract. So I came up with the idea like, hey, bring that back. Bring it like the red shirt rules, to be red shirted in football, you're only allowed, I want to say, up to 4 games. If you play more than 4, you can't be red shirted. I say bring that back. If you play, you're only allowed 4 games. If you play more than 4 games, that takes away your eligibility to transfer that offseason.
Moss?
Yeah, man. I think contracts would probably be like the best way and probably really the only solution you could really do. And yeah, like Caleb said, maybe in the contract you have to play a full year of eligibility for the team to get your fully guaranteed money. It'll make it better because like you could realistically play a guy to sit on the bench, be a redshirt freshman, and not play that much snaps, and still make money just because he's a 5-star. And that's really, you're putting in the work and stuff like that, but you're not having your jersey sales, and you're not bringing in the revenue that you're supposed to if you're getting paid X amount of money. So yeah, I'd say contracts would be a really good thing for NCAA football.
Luke?
100%. I was thinking the exact same thing. I think you do contract, you sign, you're like, hey, you got to give us 1 full year before we start paying you money. Guarantee. Like 1 full year of let's just see your hard work, like truly just like go after it, and we'll reward you with that paycheck, after you prove to us that, hey, it's good. And because then I think that shows like, okay, like if athletes really want it, they'll be like, okay, I'll play that first year knowing I'm not getting paid and work hard versus, okay, like I'll sign, I got money already, cool, like let's just go, I'm gonna be nonchalant, you know what I mean? So I think that's a great way to start that process of bringing the money down and putting more, like I guess you say, rules to the NIL. I think that's a great I think for the red shirt deal, I think your red shirt, I think you just lose it, like you lose a year, like I don't think you get paid for it, and you just move on. But I think 100% agree with, you got to at least prove and have at least 1 year under your belt of just hard work, talent, like working hard, and then you get to that to the making the money part.
Christian?
Yeah, so basically with the NIL and all that, it's all out of hand. There's just a lot too much going on, and all the ideas that y'all have been saying, they've been great ideas. I like them. I'm on board for majority of them. The thing now would be, okay, what would it take in order to get these boundaries, to get these rules, in place? Who would it take? What are the steps in order to get those, approved? Let's say, so I mean that's in itself to another conversation. Would the NCAA be willing to do that? Who all is involved in making those type of decisions? So I mean, yeah, there's just a lot, with this topic. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we'll definitely continue this topic next week. There's a lot of there was some stuff that came out a month or 2 ago with Notre Dame getting an automatic buy-in with the playoffs if certain things happen, which that's a whole other subject in itself. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get to our mock drafts. All right, let's go ahead and get to this mock draft because I know we've been waiting on this. And so without further ado, Kristen's going to pull up our mock draft, and we're going to go from there.
And Reese, linebacker out of the Ohio State. And real quick, I'll just say I think he's the perfect fit here for the Jets, especially the way he's an edge hybrid linebacker.
Love it. Yeah, 3rd overall pick right here for the Arizona Cardinals. I believe they're going to go offensive tackle, take Francis out of Miami, get some protection. There we go.
All right. Tennessee, man, I think they really I was going to go more towards guard here. Man, I'll be honest, I don't know too much, but I think I'm just going to I'll take Emmanuel Fregon from Oregon. I think
Emmanuel Fregon is a very, very good player. I kind of think I know this pick too, just because of what John Harbaugh said. He said he could draft a very talented safety, he will, and that's literally what Caleb Downs is. Very talented safety.
Love it.
I'm excited to see him there in New York. I think he's going to turn the organization around pretty good. So
Yeah,
we'll see how that
especially on
goes.
defense.
Yeah.
Right here, I think the Browns are going to get themselves a weapon. First wide receiver off the board. Give me Carnell Tate to the Browns.
Carnell Tate, honestly, is a great pick there, especially with his, I think he has an under 2% drop rate through his whole career. I mean, but anyways, with Washington here, I have to go edge rusher, and I'm going to have to go David Bailey out of Texas Tech. Just a great edge.
For the Saints, man, I think getting rid of Raheem Shaheed and only having Chris Olave there, I think I'm gonna get a wide receiver for them. I think they need another weapon. I think their quarterback's not in desperate need. I think I'm just gonna go with the number one receiver from Makia Lemon. If I mess up on the names, I'm deeply sorry. But I think I'm gonna give him a wide receiver, man.
Awesome. Here we go. My Chiefs. So he's sitting here at number 9. If he is there on the board, of course, we are taking him. Give me Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame.
Yeah, with the Caleb really put me in a pickle here with the Ruben Baines would be so good on the. I think Mansour Delane is the pick here. He's very close to TJ Parker or TJ not Parker. Their corner TJ, I forgot his last name, but he's very similar, and I think he'll do the exact same thing here from Miami. Keeping it in state, give me Ruben Baines Jr.
Ruben Payne Jr. out of Miami, man, nice. I feel like this is a pick. Every mock draft that I have done with the Cowboys, he's always the guy that I grab is Sonny Styles out of Ohio, the Ohio State.
All right, my next picks, I got my division rivals, the Rams. I wish they wouldn't draft anybody so that way they could just suck. But I guess I got to give them someone. I'm going to give them a cornerback. I'm going to go Jermod McCoy.
Yeah, I mean that's basically a free pick from Atlanta, so why not try to take one of the best corners in the draft? Even though he does have injury concerns. Now, the fact that Jordan Tyson fell to the Ravens is the 14th ranked player getting drafted a little bit earlier, I say just give Lamar the weapon he deserves and that he needs just to make it a deep playoff run. Give me Jordan Tyson.
Here we go. Tampa Bay. Which way do we go with Tampa Bay? I'm kind of liking Keldrick Falk. I do like him a lot, dude. I believe they'll go edge here, either Falk or Howell. Give me Falk here. Give me Falk for Tampa.
Oh, well. The Jets might have to go with Peter Woods just because I think people say he's such a talented player, but his team did so bad. But, I mean, there's a lot of good players on bad teams that produce well, so.
All righty. For the Lions, man, had a fall off season this year. I'm pretty sure we could all agree on. Man, let's see here. I think the Lions defense is a little weak. I'm gonna go a defensive player. I think I'm gonna go cornerback again. I'm gonna trust South Carolina. I'm gonna go Brandon. I'm gonna mess up these last names, so I'm just gonna Kaisi. I don't even know. Forgive me, but
All right. Now for my Vikings, Alvin might disagree with me, but he's got to see the situation that we're at right now. So obviously we know that Brian Flores got re-signed. We were kind of worried that he was going to go get a head coaching job somewhere else. And ultimately Harrison Smith has hung up the cleats and the helmet. So those are some big shoes to fill. And so the Vikings backfield is definitely going to need some help. So, we're going to go with Avion Taylor. From the Clemson Tigers. Now, Clemson had a dog water season, but it's not to say like they were one of the best defenses earlier on this year. So I'm going to go with Avion Terrell.
That's a good pick.
Who has
Oh yeah, I'm stupid. Oh, my bad. So, in terms of the Panthers, they had a good little run this year. They did a lot better than they did last year, and they are definitely needing someone at the wide receiver core. And I'm going to go with Denzel Boston.
That's honestly a great pick right there.
Boston.
Great receiver, 6'4". Definitely your traditional X would definitely pair well with Bryce Young and Tetro McMillan.
Here we go. Dallas back on the clock right here at pick number 20 in our draft. I think they're going to stack up on that defense. They just got Sonny Styles at 12. I think right here going Howell out of Texas A&M, getting an edge rusher. It's really, I think they go D-line here. It's almost pretty tough. I could say Caleb Banks also, but I believe they're going to get an edge. Try to recreate that Micah Parsons.
For sure. I think this is
at this point.
Oh yeah, for sure. Probably my most confident pick. With the Steelers, I think we're going after a QB. I'm going Ty Simpson. I think I don't think Rodgers is staying much longer. I think they need to get a guy out there, and I think he's the man that can do it.
Yeah, Ty Simpson is most definitely. He seems like, even though he absolutely had a massive blunder in the playoffs against Georgia, I still think he's built for the NFL. He's one of those guys, kind of like Fernando, where you can just tell he's ready to go. He was already saying earlier in the year that he was ready to go, but Bama begged him on their knees to come back. So that's a really good pick, Luke.
Alrighty, here this is in probably every single Chargers mock draft. I always see him taking Vega here, and it's going to be the exact same thing again. I mean, just a very, very talented guard. Exactly what the Chargers need, and it's perfect fit, perfect pick.
Shoot, now we got Philadelphia back on the clock. Definitely think they're going to beef up that offensive line. Man, I think with him being available right here, give me Caleb Banks for Philadelphia. And then now I am back on the clock with the Browns, pick number 24. They just got an offensive weapon in Cardinal Tate. I think that they're going to go and try to get some protection on that offensive line. Surprised that he's fell quite a bit. Give me Spencer Fanu here at 24.
Nice. Okay, I got Bears next. I think Bears. I think we need to work on some defense here. I'm gonna go with an edge rusher. I'm gonna go with T.J. Parker.
All right, Bills Mafia, y'all are on the clock right now. Bills. They had a terrible end of the season. They lost their head coach. They got a new one. But we all know one of the biggest catalysts with the Bills is their defense. Their defense is dog crap. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and get them a linebacker. We're going to go with C.J. Allen from Georgia. Really, really strong pick.
The 49ers, dude. I almost do think about taking Kenyon Sadiq right here, tight end. George Kittle coming off an ACL tear. Man, or going wide receiver. There's still some wide receiver talent on the board. Casey Conception.
Nice receiver talent on the board, yes. Casey Conception and even Omar Cooper Jr., who I think might be a first-round talent after the combine.
I think I have to go KC right here. Definitely if Buffalo passes on him. Yeah, give me KC.
And now we got the Texans on the board. Obviously, we know that they have been in an absolute struggle lately with everything that's been going on. That O-line, man, it's really been bad. It's really been bad for them. But ultimately, yeah, I'm gonna go and give them Chase DeSantis from Texas A&M.
Nice. This is my pick now. Okay, we got the Rams again. I feel like many people are going to disagree with me on this one, but I'm going to give the Rams a wide receiver. I know this probably might be a shock. You got Puka, man, top dog. Devontae Adams, he's getting a little old. I mean, he's still in a great place right now in his career. But I think they just need some more power in their offense. I don't want them to, of course, but I'm gonna go with Chris Bell though from Louisville.
Chris Bell's honestly a great pick here.
And we got the Broncos back on the clock. Obviously, we know they had one of the most prolific defenses of the year. But on the offensive side, that's where they really struggled. And I'm going to give them Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon.
That's an amazing pick.
Yeah.
Here we go. The New England Patriots, the Super Bowl runner-ups. I believe the difference maker in that game that would have helped them out was them being able to protect Drake May. I can't see them going any other way right here, but you got to take care of your quarterback. Give me Caden Proctor.
Great pick.
All righty. And the last pick of the draft, my Seattle Seahawks, the Super Bowl champs. Man, there's a lot of controversy in this pick, man. Do you go defense? Do you go offense? Knowing Mike McDonald, man, he's definitely going to go defensive player. I think right now, not knowing where Reek's going, where Kobe Bryant's going, I think our safeties and our cornerbacks, you can always go after more. I'm going to go a cornerback here, and I'm going to go Colton Hood from Tennessee.
Good. Colton Hood is honestly an amazing pick there. I think he's going to be one of the most exciting corners to watch in the combine as well.
Awesome. And there it is. That is the pre-combine CN7 Sports Media mock draft. Awesome. We're going to, Tomas is going to have this posted up, ready to go on our social media. So that way you guys stay in tune with what we got going on, what our picks are, everything in between. And obviously we'll kind of reshoot this again post-combine. Our picks will change. And we're going to live stream as well from the NFL draft. So without further ado, that was awesome, boys. I had fun. I don't know about y'all. What y'all think?
Awesome, dude. Ready?
Yeah. Love that.
So without further ado, we're going to give the floor to Caleb just to talk about some more Chiefs offseason. Obviously, last week we talked about it a little bit more. We kind of touched on it, but I'm going to give the floor to Caleb real quick, and he's going to go from there.
Here we go, guys. So Chiefs Kingdom. Today we got some news. As of February 18, Patrick Mahomes' contract did get restructured, which we all did see coming. So Chiefs restructured Patrick Mahomes' contract, freeing up $43.56 million in cap space for us. We are still about $11 million over the cap space, but we can get that fixed real quick by, cutting Jawan Taylor, which is going to free up around $20 million for us. Also, cutting Jalen Moore will free up another 7.9. Cutting Mike Dana, moving away from him, will free up an additional $8.9 million. I do see us restructuring Chris Jones, which is going to free us up $22.5 million, and restructuring Trey Smith, offensive guard, that's going to free up $12.5 million. And this is just more things that I would do. I'm pretty sure the Chiefs will do it, and they may go more aggressive than what I did. But from these moves that I had just done, that puts the Chiefs sitting around $60.8 million to play with in the free agency this year. And, notable Chief free agents that are going to be hitting free agency for us. Number one, Travis Kelce. I believe we're going to have to bring him back. That's a big one. I think he's going to take a team-friendly deal also, just to come back on that 1 year final, like, hey, let's run it back. Let's get back in the Super Bowl. Man, we got a lot of young talent that need to be re-signed that I would love to see back, starting with linebacker Leo Chanel. Love to see him back in Kansas City. And safety Brian Cook, want to bring him back. And we do lose a guy right here. This is what I say. Jalen Watson, who's going to be hitting free agency. He's our corner 2. Believe he's going to be gone. He won't be a Chief next year. And that is due because the Chiefs have to pay Trent McDuffie next year. And he's probably going to be up there, with PS2 and, JC Horn and those guys. He's going to be a top paid corner in the league. And you got to take care of Trent McDuffie. So letting go Jalen Watson does suck, but you got to pay the main guy. Isaiah Pacheco, former running back 1, dealt with injuries and stuff. He's going to be gone. I think we're ready to move on. As Chiefs fans know that we're going to go a different direction, whether that's a free agency, hinting at Kenneth Walker or Breece Hall if they don't get tagged. Or we go the route in the draft and see if we get if those stars align and we get J-Love, probably the most explosive player in the draft, offensive weapon. We got some more depth guys hitting free agency from the Chiefs. Joshua Williams, I would love to bring him back. He's not really going to be expensive, but he's a wonderful depth cornerback for us. Tyquan Thornton, wide receiver. Love to bring him back. He's an also depth guy, but when we didn't have Rashee Rice this year, and Xavier Worthy had some injuries, and Tyquan Thornton came in and he was making plays for us. He showed what he can do, and I'd love to bring him back. And the big one too, Kareem Hunt. I'd love to bring him back. He's an excellent third down running back. Feels like every third and short scenario that we were in, we just handed the ball up to that dude, and he's getting us across that line. Bring that dude back. And then wide receiver Marquise Brown. He's going to be gone. The rumors saying he's going to be heading to Baltimore again to play with Lamar Jackson. And another wide receiver, Juju Smith-Schuster, gone. So that is the Chiefs free agents that we'll be losing. I do have some guys named right here that I would love to see the Chiefs target. Doesn't mean we can get them, but I have some guys, I'll start with running backs because I feel like that is the number one issue that the Chiefs need to address this offseason. So we're going to talk about free agents here. And we'll start with running back Kenneth Walker. Love to bring that dude. Super Bowl MVP. Had an excellent year this year. I think it would have been better if he didn't have to split some red zone snaps with Charbonnet. So that, love to see Kenneth Walker back. It's said that the Seattle Seahawks will not franchise tag him. So he's probably most likely going to hit free agency. Breece Hall. Love to get that guy, but I want to say I could see him getting franchise tagged by the Jets. Don't know if he'll make it to free agency. And a name who's kind of slept on to me, I don't hear a lot of things about Kansas City targeting him much, but I would love to see Travis Etienne run it with us. Believe that if we get him in our system, he can do great things with us. And then I do have a name, kind of feel like it's a slept on one, but I'd love to see if none of these guys work out for us. But what about Rachaad White? Bring him back from Tampa. Or bring him from Tampa, And that's the running backs that I got coming from free agency that I'd love to see Kansas City target. Now I'll move on to wide receivers. These wide receivers are, I do got some big name guys here. They're more veteran guys. Starting with my number one on the board, love to see Chiefs try to get him on a kind of team-friendly deal, nothing too crazy. But Mike Evans, he's going to be hitting free agency this year. And, his whole career has been with Tampa Bay. Every single year, I'm pretty sure that he's played, he's been a 1,000-yard receiver. I want to say, and that streak continues. Don't quote me on it, but, And then second wide receiver, Rashid Shaheed, dude, coming from Seattle as well. If he gets a free agency, I'd love to see the Chiefs go out and try to get him. I think he'll be some money, but I don't think it'll be too crazy. And my last but not least wide receiver that I can see the Chiefs going after you is Romeo Doubs. I can see the Chiefs going after him, bring him in our system. I think we just need to get a playmaker for Mahomes, a real good vet guy. Our wide receiver room is very young right now with, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy. Those are very young guys, and I believe getting a solid veteran, that's going to boost that wide receiver room like crazy. And then let's talk about the offensive tackle issue, because I did say we were going to cut our offensive tackle to save us some money, so then that's going to open a hole. We're going to have to fill it in. And, the number one, of course, is probably the best tackle coming into free agency, but he's going to cost a lot of money, is Rasheed Walker. Love to see maybe the Chiefs go after him. That is a lot of money. Is it realistic? Probably not, just depending on how much, cap we can free up. But would love to see him. He's the best tackle, and I want to protect our guy Mahomes back there. It's our money. Another guy, he's a vet, He's a vet. Love to bring him in. I don't really know how to pronounce his last name, but he's coming from New York, the Giants. It's Jermaine Elumanor, something like that, He's a veteran. Love to bring him in. Should be not too expensive, but yeah, that's about what I get for Chiefs news.
Awesome. That was awesome. Caleb did mention a couple guys from Lucas's team. Now there is some controversy with the whole K9 thing. Man just won Super Bowl MVP. And then on top of that, y'all are going to lose a wide receiver, but also in terms of free agency, Lucas, y'all signed Sam to a 1-year deal. Do y'all think they're going to franchise tag him? Do you think they're going to ultimately sign him for a long time, like a 5-year big contract? What's going on with the Seahawks and this offseason overall free agency?
Yeah, no, for sure. Man, it hurts to talk about it every single time we bring his name up. K9, man, Super Bowl MVP, most underrated running back in the league right now. As a Seahawks fan, and just the news I've been reading up on, other podcasts I've been listening to, I don't think he's coming back, man. I don't think Seattle's franchise tagging him. It hurts. It hurts. I can start crying right now. But man, it's like I said. At least we won a Super Bowl with him at the end of the day. The whole Sam Darnold. I think we keep him. I think we sign him some more. We got the money. I think he's proven a little bit more this year that he's a quarterback worth spending some money on. I think Seattle goes after him and secures our QB spot. And if not, we have a great backups. We are set. I think our QB room is the least of our worries. Honestly, Sam walks on, obviously not anytime soon, not too soon. But, like I said, we talked about this last episode. We got Jalen Milroe back there ready to go. I think he's ready. I think he's getting the reps. He saw how Sam did it this year. And I think we're good in the quarterback room. Wide receivers, the biggest one, Rashid Shaheed, man. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna say Seattle re-signs him. I think Seattle saw how explosive he was for us. I think we need someone like that for, when Jason is on locks, when Cooper Kupp's on locks, you got that guy who, like I said, last podcast, you could throw a deep bomb to him and he's there. In the Super Bowl, we missed a couple of chances, but that was just great coverage by Gonzo. Man, you got to respect the guy's name as well. Great player. But I mean, hey, if we have those completions, man, that's a huge flip for Seattle. So I want to, and not to mention a Pro Bowl, return specialist, man. You can't ignore what the man does on kickoffs. NFC game against the 49ers at home, opening kickoff, boom, to the house. And we need Seattle needs those explosive plays, and I think he brings plenty of them. I think Seattle's going to, like I said, just a very defensive-minded head coach. I think we're going after defensive players. I think we save our money. I think we re-sign Witherspoon, an absolute monster of a defensive player. We're going to spend money with him. I think we go and get we go back and get Kobe Bryant. I do think Reek is walking on. I don't think we sign him back. I think just the controversy with him on the team, and not denying the dude's a great player, but he gave up too much for us in the big games. You got the guy who gave up a touchdown to Puka in the NFC Championship, and then right after that in the Super Bowl, you give the only touchdown to him on a man coverage, and I just think I think if he splits, it'll be both good for him and the organization. And like I said, I think we go after some defensive players that hit free agency. I can't wait to see who all comes out. I think Seattle's in a great space right now to spend the money for some good defensive players. We got our offensive coordinator figured out, coming over from the 49ers, believe it or not. Their tight end coach who I've listened, and the man George Kittle himself is saying great things about him. So if you got a guy like George Kittle, top tiered player in his position, saying that this guy is a great coach, I'm trusting it. So I think he's gonna be good, and I think Seattle's gonna be good for this offseason. I'm excited.
Yeah, it just kind of feels like a slap in the face, like to K9 for everything that he did for y'all, like especially in the Super Bowl, the biggest game of that organization's like season, especially after the massive failure against the Patriots not that long ago. You got a guy filling those shoes and y'all didn't make the same mistake twice. And for y'all just kind of let him go, that's just sucks, man. That's honestly, that I would feel so betrayed because I gave y'all everything. I won the Super Bowl MVP. He made the game so interesting because that game we all talked about last week was an absolute snooze fest. So, yeah, it just sucks, man. Yeah. What do you think, Luke?
I agree. Like I said, I mean, I it's heartbreaking to see a guy like that walk on, especially like everyone says, although not the real MVP of the Super Bowl, the one who did end up the Super Bowl MVP, it's just, you got to give respect where respect's due. You know what I mean? And again, I agree with you. I think it is a slap on the face. It's like, it's just how do you get rid of someone? I mean, going back to the whole Sam Darnold thing, it's like you see a guy with an outstanding performance, and how in the world can you just say, there's the door, man. I'm sorry, but we're not going to franchise tag you. We're not going to. And And I get it. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. Again, especially with Charbonnet coming back off a torn ACL. Like, no running back comes the same after a leg injury ever. You know what I mean? It's been proven over and even just any position in general. Wide receivers that have blown up a knee and just been like they just don't come back the same. So I think they're making the wrong move by keeping Charbonnet and not keeping K9 100%. But I think when it comes down to it, I think Seattle's going to be right back in the Super Bowl this next year. And so I guess we'll wait and see how it goes.
And speaking of never being the same, big news dropped this morning from the great Adam Schefter. The Miami Dolphins have released the great Tyreek Hill, a.k.a. the Cheetah, a.k.a. the former Kansas City legend. And, he has not been the same since he got to Miami. We've all known that. We all know his personal opinions, that he's purposely outspoken. We all watched that game where that leg looked horrible. That's a career-ending injury. And yeah, like as a businessman and business decision, if I owned a team and my best wide receiver, if he comes back, he's not going to be the same. And on top of that, we're paying him this much to sit on the sidelines. And then if he comes back, we're paying him this much to hope that he can perform what he's used to. But even then, when he was on that cart being carried to the locker room, I had never seen. Oh, I'm pretty sure we could all relate to this. We probably never seen someone that happy to have a nearly career-ending injury like that. But what do y'all think overall, like his about him getting cut? But also, where do you think he'll land next?
Well, as much as I would love to see him back in Kansas City, I mean, that's why he wasn't on my wide receiver list. Is due to that injury, man. It's who knows if he'll come back and be the same guy. I mean, the dude's known. His nickname is the Cheetah. Is he gonna be the cheetah when he comes back? He can be sorry, I was about to cuss. He can be a tortoise. It's a horrible injury, man, and it's hard to bounce back from. I was reading a report from a doctor, and they were talking about Tyreek Hill's injury, and Tyreek Hill came out and said in a Twitch stream, I believe, that he was about to have another surgery for his LCL. And from that, the doctor believes that Tyreek Hill has suffered some nerve damage in that injury because his knee dislocated and he tore multiple ligaments and stuff. So, yeah, there's no telling if he'll be the same guy. And I'm not willing to take that risk because, Kansas City's already in a cap space of hell and we have to pay all these guys. So why bring a wide receiver? Like, the risk to reward is just not worth it to me. I do love the guy, he was a Kansas City Chief legend. I have so many great memories of him being in that red, man, and scoring touchdowns at Arrowhead. But I just don't think the risk to reward is worth it.
Tomas.
Yeah, man. Tyreek Hill's, older wide receiver. I think he's turning. I don't know. During the NFL season, he'll be 30, 32 or 31, maybe 32. Yeah, 32. I would say get him on the Chargers, but honestly, I think the Chargers wide receiver room is a little bit too young for him, especially if the Chargers do bring back like a Keenan Allen or maybe also sign a Rashid Shaheed. I know he keeps on getting mentioned, but that just shows how good of a player he is. But yeah, man, I think a good team fit for him though would definitely be. I want to say the Steelers. I know that sounds really weird, but just to be right next to DK, if he does, continue to play football, because no one really knows if he is. But yeah, man, the Steelers would be perfect right next to DK. You got a physical wide receiver. And then the Steelers kind of showed with the receivers that they already have. They're smaller, kind of faster, shiftier receivers that they do have did have a good scheme for it. Of course, now they have a new head coach and stuff, but I think it's still the same culture and still, of course, you still have the same players there most apart. Yeah, so I think Tyreek Hill might be a Steeler.
Luke?
Yeah, man, it's a tough one. It's hard not to look at Tyreek Hill and think like this guy is the fastest NFL player. Obviously now he's got some competition. He got Xavier Worthy. You got Rashid Shaheed, again, another name brought up. But it's just health-wise, man, I'm not going anywhere. It's cold. I'm not going to a cold, if I could, I'm saying Arizona where the lowest it gets is 70 degrees. You know what I mean? I really don't think he's going to a big team. I think he's going to a team who's kind of just been under the radar. Definitely, I don't think he's going back to Kansas City as much as I'm sure, like Caleb said, the fans would love to see it, the memories. I don't think he's going anywhere that he used to be. So I don't know an exact team for sure, but I think health wise, if I'm him, I'm thinking I'm going to go somewhere where it doesn't get too cold that messes me up during the game. So if I'm him, I'm going to a warmer state. I'm going to, Raiders. I'm going to Arizona. I'm going somewhere in the desert. I wouldn't chance going to a Buffalo. I wouldn't chance going to Colorado, So personally, I don't know. Again, but he still can't deny that he's still a great player. And I mean, I guess we'll see, through videos, social media, of course, how he's doing. And we'll know pretty quickly if this guy's going to live up to the cheetah by the end of a couple months, I'd say.
Yeah. Christian.
Yeah, so for me, if I think he will return if he's up for it, and I'm probably like 100% sure teams would be willing, to give him another chance, especially some teams that are needing some help out with the outside receiver position. And the team that comes to mind for me is the Buffalo Bills. For me, they've been needing someone for a long time to give Josh Allen some type of help. I mean, we can all see that he really hasn't had much help these past several years. And so bringing in with the new coach and staff, with the new coach, I think they'd be willing to give him a shot, just to get a veteran in there, tries to at least give Josh Allen some type of help, and give the Buffalo offense some little spark, and hopefully give the Buffalo Mafia something to look forward to on the offensive side and give, their boy Josh Allen some help. So I think the Buffalo Bills would be willing to give Tyreek Hill a chance. So
Yeah, another team, like a bunch of like rumors around the rumor mill is that, Tyreek Hill grew up a Vikings fan. He always wanted to go play for the Vikings. Ultimately they didn't land that way because he ended up with the Chiefs. But they before he got released, there were some rumors saying that the Vikings were willing to trade Jordan Addison or Jalen Naylor and TJ Hawkinson and a couple second round picks for him, just to get JJ some help, but at the same time, JJ has the best wide receiver in the league. He's got plenty. And then Jordan Addison is a dog. Jalen Naylor is a dog. TJ Hawkinson, yes, he's getting older, but he's a dog too. So he's got plenty of help out on the outside. So I just don't see that as like being a good fit. But Christian pointed out, yeah. I don't like in terms of health wise, you definitely don't want to go somewhere cold. But you definitely don't want to go to San Francisco with all those controversies because that team is injury prone. That team's so injury prone. But like you said, Josh Allen and even the Buffalo Bills and the Ravens, he could go fit perfect there. But we've seen this before with Odell when he went to the Ravens, didn't do so well, and Luke said, maybe the Raiders. We saw what happened with AB when he went to the Raiders, didn't do so well. So it's more so like it's really hard to say, where he could go. But ultimately, it's how he's going to perform. We see this all the time. Conor McGregor, after that big leg injury that he had against Dustin Poirier. We haven't seen him in 5 years. Supposedly he's coming back to the white card, but we know Connor's not going to be the same. So yeah, that's the big risk. And speaking of big risks, but also new things, trial and error. We have a brand new segment that's going to be led by the best brothers, arguably the best brothers, because my brother's the best brother. Shout out Devin, love you. We have a brand new segment. This is going to be our soccer segment led by Christian and Lucas. Boys, without further ado, take the floor. Y'all can play rock, paper, scissors. Just kidding.
I'll start us off on this one. Soccer, man. Football, the world's greatest sport across every single country. I don't care you can't deny it's the best sport ever.
Or
Hands down. No, culture is unbelievable. Fans, unbelievable. There's never a dull moment. Soccer is year round, constantly going. Not like football where you have a little break or off season. No, we're going. So with further ado, I got some pretty big news for those who do watch soccer. We had the second biggest game in Italy for soccer on Valentine's Day, matter of fact. The Derby d'Italia, probably didn't pronounce that right, obviously not Italian. But we had a great game. We had Inter versus Juventus. Man, 3-2 game. Man, it's there was a crazy call that changed the whole game. I don't know if we have that video pulled up or not. And kind of, I wanted to show the video to kind of get the guys' inputs who aren't that big on soccer and see, what do y'all guys think about this call that changed the entire game? A little bit of background: soccer has 11 players, 10 on the field, and a goalkeeper. So that's a lot of players nonstop. You don't get a quarter. You don't get first quarter, second quarter. No, you get halftime. That's it. You're back on the field and you're going. It is just a different type of in shape sport. Clearly now I'm not in shape like I once was. But man, it was fun. So I don't know. I don't know if we're working on that video or not. If we're not able to play it, it's okay. But we'll see. I'll talk a little bit more. That way we don't have a dead space. I guess while we wait for that, I'll talk about the 2026 FIFA World Cup, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you in Mexico, Canada, and the great United States of America. It's going to be awesome. I'm sure everyone has seen clips of the World Cup. I'm sure everyone has realized that Arrowhead Stadium is going to be on the list. Go check it out, guys. I know it's expensive, but I mean, it's crazy expensive. I would say go check it out, or at least go around the area, watch a game. But the World Cup, guys, I don't know if y'all have realized how many viewers there are for the World Cup versus a Super Bowl. I don't know if y'all have seen the stats on it. I don't have the exact stats, but all I know is it's 10 times greater than the Super Bowl. You got the big names. You got the Messi, Ronaldo. You got old timers. You got the OG Ronaldo. You got Wayne Rooney. You got all these great players. And I got a list for you guys. It's not on the screen. I know I'm asking for a lot here, but I'll kind of wait a little bit. But I want to get y'all's overall picks on who do y'all think is going to win the World Cup based off what you kind of know. You got your Argentina, you got Mexico, USA, Canada, Panama. You got all these teams. Just I know y'all don't know too much about it, but I want to get y'all involved in this segment for those who don't know soccer. So we got World Cup rankings right here. Number one is Spain. Number one player from Spain, Lamine Yamal. Can't deny that guy has talent, but man, the guy just horrible ego. I hate to say it, man. The dude is just his ego is awful. But we got top 10. We'll go top 10, and I want to see who y'all think will win it. Not based off rankings, just who you think would win it. Let's go. The host. Let's go, Marcus.
I'm just kidding. I know USA is absolutely bunions when it comes to this sport. But I know that we'll kick everybody else's ass when it comes to football. I'm going to go the safe bet. I'm going to say Argentina. I think was it Messi won the last World Cup with Argentina? I think it was. So I'm going to say they run it back.
With him, too, being in such an old age, do you think this would be his last one, too? To try to do one last go at it.
It's funny. Caleb, what do you think?
Man, dude. So, like you said, I wish I want to bet up on my USA boys, but due to looking at these rankings, give me England.
Oh, the enemies.
Yeah, give me the
Tomas.
red coats.
Oh man, looking at these teams here, these are ranking by most points, correct? Or what is the point system? Okay. I think Argentina just runs it back to back, solidifies Messi as the GOAT.
He was solidified as the GOAT after the last one, to be honest. You know? Christian.
Man, I don't know. This is tough. I mean, like I said earlier, you have Messi going back with Argentina, probably last World Cup. Spain, they've been pretty good. England, you just never know with England. They're just inconsistent, especially when it comes to the big games. Brazil, I really haven't seen much of Brazil. Portugal, they're a pretty well built team with Ronaldo coming back also. Old age, maybe his last World Cup also. Um, this is tough. I mean, France was in the World Cup last year. They came up just short. I'm going to take France for this one.
Awesome. Yeah. As y'all don't know us by now, if y'all are new here, me, Caleb, and Tomas, we don't know next to shit about this stuff. But the beautiful thing about this show and the beautiful thing about this company is that all of us are not only willing to learn, but we're also catered to a bunch of different audiences. So just having a segment like this, as well as the next one, is awesome too. So actually, I'm going to give the floor to Christian to transition us into the next segment of baseball.
Yeah, I'd like to say one thing real quick. The closest thing I know about soccer is probably the video game Rocket League. To be real, that's literally the closest I've got to. Besides one time, me and Kilo played soccer at a little indoor stadium. If Kilo remembers that, we're getting hit somewhere where the sun doesn't shine, and it was not that fun.
And then called it a day after that, huh?
Yeah, I was like,
man, that'll be a new segment from Marcus. We'll talk about professional Rocket League. Like, what's better than he already talks about F1, and then you combine soccer and you get Rocket League, bro. Come on.
Plus, Jinxie's reviving the game, which the man is goated at reviving games. But yeah, go ahead, Christian.
Dang, all right. So next topic we're coming into is the baseball. There's quite a bit of baseball stuff going on right now that we were discussing, even before the pod. The biggest thing right now I would say would be the quote unquote World Cup of baseball. So this is called the 2026 World Baseball Classic. So this is where different countries, they come together, they come and they play all sorts of games, and it's fun. So you have 20 national teams, so there's like teams like Japan, USA, Dominican Republic, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Italy, different teams like that. We have some host cities that are going to be happening here in the States. We have Houston, we have Miami, San Juan is in Puerto Rico, Tokyo, Japan, so this isn't just an event that's hosted just in one country. This is something that's held around the world. So it's pretty exciting. Luke, you can elaborate a little bit more on that.
Yeah, no, for sure. World Baseball Classic, man. I watched most of it last year's, and man, some great moments. You got the best of the best, and I think what's so great about having these like countries is that, you get them divided. You get the best of the best split into different teams. For example, the number one player right now, Shohei Ohtani, man, that is not playing for the U.S. Freddie Freeman not playing for the U.S. But U.S., you got Mookie Betts, you got I cannot believe I'm blanking on his name right now from the Yankees. Someone help me out here. This looks so bad. Yes, bro. Oh my gosh, that's gonna look so bad for the podcast. Aaron Judge, one of if not the greatest hitters like right now. But it's awesome to see, and I think that's why soccer is just so awesome too. Just talking about both, just having like world games. Is that you don't see there's not one team that's dominant. You have Japan, who's like, you got some of the best pitchers coming from Japan. You got, everyone knows Venezuela has like just some dogs in baseball. Colombia's got some dogs in baseball. So I think that's just what makes sports like this just so much so entertaining, is that yes, they can be dominant on one team during the regular season, like the LA Dodgers, but then when it comes to something like this, that team's split up and you don't know what the odds are and what's going to happen. So this is exciting. Some key players that actually are going to be missing spring training with that coming up. For the Seattle Mariners, Seattle, baby, let's go, is Julio Rodriguez from the Dominican Republic, Andres Munoz from Mexico, Josh Naylor from Canada, Atlanta Braves. You got Ronald Acuna Jr. going to Venezuela. Christian is a Braves fan. Sorry, he's a Braves fan, guys. I'll apologize for him. He's going to be with Texas Rangers. I'm sure a lot of us know the Texas Rangers. We got Ezekiel Duran, likely, though not finalized for sure. And then some players that are not going to be playing in this tournament because of spring training. You got some guys from Puerto Rico, Francisco Lindor, Carlos Guerrero, and some other guys. I think one of the key players right now is Shohei Ohtani will be in the tournament, but they are not having him pitch. I'm sure if y'all remember, shoulder injury, hasn't pitched only a little bit during the World Series. With we could say the most outrageous loss for the Blue Jays. If you can remember that, man, the way the Dodgers came back. Side little note, Dodgers, I think, are running it back, repeat, first to do it since the Yankees. It's been a long time. But I think it's exciting. Like I said, spring training coming back. We got MLB players coming back for that. We got players, going back to their countries and practicing. And it's going to be exciting. There, like I said, I encourage you to watch it. There are some great – I was actually watching a video on top 10 best moments of the tournament last year, and man, the walk-off home runs, the home run of Ohtani, where they're literally like people are taking the ball and taking pictures of it and passing it on. Of course, it was in Japan where they're more respectful. Of course, that's here. People are throwing punches and elbowing and spilling beer on top of each other. So, it's crazy how sports can just bring us together. So I encourage y'all to watch that when that comes. I believe that's in March. So we'll just do some more coverage of baseball coming up. But as of right now, that is what we got for you guys. And we'll continue to grow in these new segments. So I hope y'all enjoy these new ones. Let us know what y'all think about them.
Awesome. And Caleb, if y'all don't know by now, he said it earlier, but ever since I've known him, not only a Chiefs fan, but he's always been a Royals fan. Caleb, I know that your Royals have been in a drought for a while now. Where do you see them going in the future? Where do you think potential moves they need to make with the Royals? What's going on? I know my Rangers won that long ago, so I'm happy. That's fine. I can't name a player on the Rangers, but I'll go to a game.
I think the Royals, dude, they need to start spending that money. So I feel like every free agency that comes around, they're not really pretty aggressive with the top guys trying to go out, and they're so focused on, I want to say, getting the younger talent, developing these young players. We've had Salvador Perez playing catcher for us for years. He's getting old. I mean, he ain't going to get any younger. That's obviously going to be a hole we're going to have to fill in. But thank God we got Bobby Witt, dude. That dude is a beast, and he's actually playing in the tournament. I'm excited to see him play for Team USA. But yeah, I'd love to see us improve on the mound, get some solid starting pitchers. I wish we would have had a better offseason. I was reading yesterday, they ranked every MLB team's offseason, and the Royals had a C. So we could have definitely done better. We didn't make a lot of crazy moves, just sign some veterans. But I hope, going forward, instead of trying to look more towards younger talent, getting veteran guys, I hope we just go spend some money. Like, hey, let's get the best of the best.
And Luke had mentioned Christian is a Braves fan. And in the more verberated words, Christian, what's going on with your sorry-ass Braves? I'm just kidding. What's going on with your Braves? What do you think?
The thing is, there's nothing going on. I mean, pretty much ever since the World Series win, they've just been kind of mediocre team. They've been going and they try to make moves, but it wasn't these big blockbuster moves or moves that really impacted the team in a way to help improve. So I mean, they've made some trades here and there, but it's kind of like, what does this guy got to offer? Does he offer anything? And not really. So I mean, again, it's just saying what moves they're going to do, the people that they do end up going after, how they perform, for Atlanta. So I mean, we'll see. Hopefully, they can kind of build it back up, because they've been kind of in a slump ever since they won the World Series. I'm glad they won the World Series in my lifetime, at least, unlike Dallas, where I've been a fan for many, many years. you know. But I mean, we'll just see what goes on with Atlanta. This year was probably one of the worst years that Atlanta had in a very, very, very long time. So hopefully we can start building back up here pretty soon.
I think it's so funny that your team choices are dog crap. I think that's a little. But the funny thing about Christian is that he's not like the rest of Cowboys fans who are so delusional. Like I ever since I've known him up until these past couple of years, he's been a diehard Cowboys fan. He's rode with him, but he's always been honest. It's like, we're not going nowhere, but I'm still going to throw on the jersey. And I mean, I've always been an honest Vikings fan. I know we're not going to get a Super Bowl. I hope we do in my lifetime, but I'm not going to be delusional and say, yeah, we're going to go get one next year. No. But without further ado, as this beautiful, amazing podcast comes to an end, we're going to transition to our last and final topic, Formula One. Boys, this one's going to be, boys, man, I know Caleb and Tomas don't really stay in the loop with that, but man, we got a new generation of car. We touched on it last week, and so far the overall looks of everything from driver reactions, test one, everything, everybody was talking decent things, saying good things about the new car. There was some backlash on the new regulations. But man, there's a lot of quotes. There's a lot of quotes going on from a lot of drivers, especially, some of the greats like Lewis and Fernando and world champion Max Verstappen and even Lando, and one of the main headlines that's been going on is Max said that it's basically or Formula E on steroids, which possibly leading, there's rumor mill that, Max is not only good behind a Formula One car, but he's also good on the sim. He's also good in Le Mans cars. Anything with a steering wheel and two pedals or even three, the man can drive it, and he can drive it really well. So
and FE, for those that don't know, is just lower than F1.
It's disgusting, and they sound horrible. They're on like the bottom barrel. They're the bottom scrape of the barrel of the racing. But yeah, so just hearing him say that, and Max is always honest, just hearing him say that it's Formula E on steroids, which I thought he was over exaggerating. So we watched the highlights, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. Boys, what do y'all think?
Yeah. Yeah, man. I think going back to Max Verstappen's statement is, if there's anyone who knows best about the sport, it's going to be him. So if you have a guy who says what he said, trust what he says. You know what I mean? Don't be a fan and like talk about be delusional. Be like, it's okay that they're going to figure the cars out. Like, no, the dude said these things are awful. They're awful. You know what I mean? And if you go back and you watch the highlights of testing, man, lockup after lockup, brakes not working after brakes not working, drivers spinning out already. And I was talking to some Christian about this actually earlier, and I was like, dude, I didn't realize how awful I think the body of the car looks until I like stopped and just stared at a picture, and I'm just like, they're going the wrong way right now. And man, so it is tough. I think that's something that we should do here in a minute. That'd be kind of cool, is if we put up pictures of all the cars and get some thoughts on what car he thinks looks best. Because right now, I think the Aston Martin car looks gorgeous. I'm so glad they made the all green instead of having the black. So I'm actually gonna go and I'm gonna ask. Let's go, Caleb. What car do you think would be the fastest based off of the car design?
By the way, there's more. He's gonna keep scrolling.
I can't see that last one. What's that Red Bull one? I can't see it.
There's that one. And so we got two new teams coming in to this season. We have
one of them technically isn't new. It's just a name change, but yeah.
They're new.
Scroll up a little bit. I think I have my choice. I just want to verify it. Scroll up.
What is
Man, dude.
cars? What is
Something about Ferrari, man. Something about Ferrari.
All right, that's a good pick.
A classic. A classic.
The stud. The stud. That's my team, by the way.
And the
shit, guys,
drivers
just
for them, Lewis Hamilton just recently went over this past season. Didn't have the greatest season there to start off with them, but hopefully we'll see what ends up happening in this second year.
yeah, yeah. The funny thing is that Luke said that even though the Aston's beautiful, the thing is a tractor. And in Formula One terms, that is the most derogatory thing you can call anything, especially a car. If you call a car a tractor, that is like the number one insult, that you can call something. And surprisingly enough, that car was designed by the really one of the greatest designers or car designers of all time and engineers who actually came from Red Bull, and he helped them lead to their success and getting Max Verstappen his tour. It was it four world championships or three? I think it's four, right? Yeah, it's four. Yeah. So, but yeah, even though it's a beautiful car, the green, the everything, my favorite design personally, even though I'm a Ferrari fan, the biggest thing that makes it look disgusting is that HP that's on that thing. If they were just to just blend it in like everybody else does, that'd be beautiful. But me personally, that Cadillac, even though it's another tractor, it's oh, just looking at the thing, like the other side is white, this side is black. Man, Tomas, what do you think? What just based off your looks, what car do you think will ultimately be the fastest? But also, just what car do you think has the best design?
food? I know Red Bull, I think has some pretty fast cars, but I'm looking at that McLaren. I think they might have the fastest car. I mean, they look, I don't know that much, but it looks really, really nice. A really nice design.
And you'd be spot on with that with the
Yeah.
results from this past
Last year.
season, with Lando Norris and then the McLaren winning it, so that was a pretty good pick.
And Christian, me and you support the same team. So, but we both can agree that the HP logo is disgusting.
Yeah, man. I mean, here's where I was the most disappointed was whenever on social back when I had it, you had Ferrari when the race came to Miami. They had this light blue design, and I was like, dude, that is gonna look so sick. It had the drivers were gonna be in the all blue suit. I thought the whole car was going to be in the whole blue suit. And then come to find out, it was nowhere near our expectations. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick.
Yeah, so like for Caleb and Tomas, the car designs, they're called liveries. The car designs, they play a big thing, especially like liveries, they play a big thing. It's like when NFL teams they have like those special edition jerseys, like the city jerseys or these special edition jerseys. And when teams go to a certain city or to a certain place, they will usually come up with like a really special livery. Vegas, Miami, all these special places. And like you said, Ferrari had marketed, this hypothetical car that all of us fans as Ferrari, we thought we were going to get like a light blue and white car because the suits were light blue and white. But then they came out with this.
Yeah. See if I can pull it up. There we go. Now, I was just personally expecting more blue to the car. Again, too, just by how they were putting out I thought we were going to get something more like this. Something like this.
Like that one.
Where there's just, not that one, but this one right here. Just where there'd be like more blue into the car, the suits were sick, like the drivers were going to wear, So that part was just a little, let down. But, maybe this year.
And speaking of Tomas picked the world champions, the current world champions. Lando had come out and said that we're not fast enough, and that's really worrying, especially coming from the world champion, one of the youngest world champions ever. He beat Max Verstappen by 1 point, which is like huge. And he said, we're not fast enough. And he came off in that interview that I watched, he came off pretty agitated, with like, it's just these new cars. Yeah, they're small. Yeah, they're nimble, but it's also like when you hear that from your current world champion, that's how you know you have a massive problem. Boys.
Yeah, 100%. F1's a sport about speed. And as soon as you say you don't have enough speed, you are set for failure, basically, in all honesty. Because numbers is the game in F1. If you're 0.1 second slower, that can drop you from, second place all the way down to 13th place, so it's a numbers game. You got to be fast. And like you said, is for the world champion, whom I do not like, of course, to say that, it's one of those things where it's like, man, like, for us, that might be like, oh, they're not fast enough. But like for us who like understand F1, for someone to say it's not fast enough is like, okay, you're not winning races, you're not getting podiums, you're not scoring points, and you are basically just admitting your team is at failure right now. Like your team is not succeeding, and they got to get something done with that. And so, I mean, as an F1 fan, it sucks to hear that from drivers, just how that bad things are going right now, because it's like it sets you up to like, okay, is this right or not? So it's heartbreaking to see and hear, in all honesty. For to be so passionate about a sport and realize that that sport is, as of right now, failing than it is succeeding. It's heartbreaking. And so yeah, but I think hopefully knowing F1 and the enthusiasm behind it, the money behind it, I'm positive they'll get it fixed. They'll do what they need to do to modify it. They got some of the smartest people out there working behind aerodynamics and all that stuff. And I'm not even going to begin to try to explain that. But you trust the process with this. And again, as negative as it is right now, it's going to be better. And you just wait for the season to come around.
Christian?
Yeah, so I mean, just hopefully they get, all the stuff situated, get the cars in best shape, before the season starts, because the season is just around the corner, and so with the short amount of time that they have left and with all the struggles that's going on, I mean, you can see in the highlights right here, just all the different lockups going into turns, different things like that. So I mean, there's just right now a lot of frustration, just dealing with the car and trying to get all these engineers to try to do their best to help and assist the best way they can. Some people with the time that they have, when it comes time for the first race, we'll see what is left out there on the track. Where is the first race this year?
Australia.
Yeah, so, I mean, so we'll see how it goes, man.
And last driver quote, a driver, former two-time world champion, absolute legend, Fernando Alonso. This man plans on racing till he's 75, which I mean, he's the only one that I believe. But he came out and said that this is just a paraphrase quote, but around turn 12 in Bahrain, they're going 50 kilometers an hour slower, which is like 31 miles per hour slower around turn 12. So they don't waste energy. To save it for the straights. Meaning, with this new car, it's from going from DRS, they go to active aero, and that active aero is mainly propelled by the battery because the engines are hybrids, and all that energy is used for the straights. That's for overtaking. That's for taking over places, and for him to come out and say that, they're meaning 50 kilometers per hour slower than last year's car. Mind you, a lot of the cars, from the previous generation, were tractors. But for him to come out and say, like, the chef could drive this car like in that same speed. It's crazy. And that right there, that's that lockup, that's the GOAT, Lewis Hamilton, spinning out, and that's just him having trouble with this new generation of car. Um, and that's very concerning, concerning he had a lot of input in how the car was designed. It's just the fact that you guys were saying, like, hopefully they can fix it. It's hard to fix something when you have an organization such as the FIA who is very stubborn with how they want things going. And yeah, man, it's just like even with the starts, there's a lot of drivers saying like how we're going to go about starts. Supposedly the starting is going to be tremendously slower than what we're used to. They're going to have to freaking red line constantly. It's a whole thing that they have to go to. Then drivers are having to like Red Bull are trying to have to figure out, okay, how can we conserve the most energy? And they're going to have to downshift weirdly, it just sucks. And Fernando kind of touched on this, which is it's the winners of the race are going to be the best people who manage the energy. It's not going to be the best drivers. So like Max, Lando, Lewis, George, for example, like all these great drivers, if they can't manage the energy, if Ferrari is notorious for not knowing how to manage their damn strategy. So if they think they can just go balls to the wall, we're going to have a team like freaking Alpine get first place. Thoughts?
Yeah, 100%, man. It like I said earlier, it just sucks to see such a beautiful sport go from what it was last season, a phenomenal season, great season, by the way, to a start now. Like, granted, yes, they're still practicing, but I think that's an issue is that you're practicing your new car and it's already this bad. Of course, pros and cons to it, but I just, and going to the cars, again, for us who know, is F1's about speed and being able to trust your car. And if I'm a driver sitting in any of these cars right now, I'm not trusting it at all. I mean, I don't know if y'all saw the clip of Lando Norris coming into the pit. The dude, the smoke coming up is just outrageous. And yeah, you see right there in the video, like, look, the guy's supposed to be on the track. Like, that's right there, 5-6 seconds lost to the guy he was just tied with if he takes that. And I think Alonso said, is like spot on. Like, if you know how to manage the battery in this car, you'll win. And I think that sucks because then it takes away the talent of those who are the greats. Again, Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris. I mean, like, and it gives a chance for those who may not be the best driver, but might be the smartest driver to gives them a chance and it gives them an upper hand. And if I'm Max Verstappen, if I'm Lewis Hamilton, I'm a little worried right now, in all honesty, because especially again for Lando, who's like, I don't have the speed. How can I trust this car to make me win after I just became a champion? Because in F1, Max Verstappen proved it, and so did Hamilton. Is if you win one, you could win many. You know what I mean? Especially in this generation of cars, is like, especially winning, getting all that money you get. If you win last season, you kind of have almost a guaranteed ticket to be a top runner for next year. You know what I mean? And I think that that's what's gonna hinder a lot of like some of the greats is that they're not gonna have the success because of these new cars. And I just hope they get it fixed, man. As someone who loves the sport, I hope they get it right. I hope they fix it. And I want to see the drivers love their sport because then that makes us love the sport more. That they're happy, and if their drivers are happy, their teams are happy, the fans are happy, the sport is happy, the world is happy.
Exactly. Yeah. Christian.
Yeah, man. I mean, so it's like pretty much it's just with the design of the new car, it's pretty much just a straight leveling field for everyone, So like y'all said earlier, it doesn't really give the best of the best drivers the opportunity to shine and do what they can do. I mean, you have, let's say, the Haas team, the American team, which they have been trash for years. And then with their drivers, Esteban Ocon and Oliver Behrman's still young. Esteban Ocon really hasn't shown much since he's been a driver. Now they're given the chance to compete neck and neck with a Lewis Hamilton, which is one of the best, Max Verstappen, one of the best. even Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, from all these different teams, and so, yeah, it definitely changes the world of F1 for sure, and the way we're going to watch it, the way we're going to interpret it. So yeah, there's definitely a big change coming for sure.
And you did mention like kind of them trying to close the gap. But
Yeah.
I have kind of a topic for that a little bit. But speaking of closing the gap, there's already some controversy right now. I mean, this happens every season where teams are calling out another team for quote unquote sandbagging. Like last year, they said that Ferrari was sandbagging, which turned out they weren't at all. They were not. But yeah, it's just like a lot of teams. You already got Max and Lando saying that they're potentially sandbagging. But Christian stated out that they were trying to close the gap. That didn't work because we all saw, with the last generation of car, Max was stupidly fast. And with this generation of their car, their whole goal was trying to get the races a lot tighter, a lot more competitive instead of you having a guy 20 seconds ahead of you. But if you actually look at the averages between first and last place with every race, um, from this past generation of car, the average was less than a second between first place and 20th place. If you look at Bahrain testing day one, mind you, this is just testing, but still guys were definitely going for the fastest lap. You had George Russell from Mercedes. He hit a 1:33.459. He completed 76 laps. Do y'all want to guess where Sergio Perez was in terms of time? Mind you, he had a Ferrari power plant.
I know I read on it. I don't remember at the moment, but I'm not going to say anything because I know I could possibly be wrong.
Christian, what do you think?
What was the question? Sorry, I was trying to pull up something.
No, so you had mentioned something about, like F1 or like FIA trying to close the gap on the whole thing. But turns out this year it didn't really work. And George Russell completed 76 laps, completed a 1:33.4. And I was asking, what do you think? Max didn't compete today, so there was 21 drivers testing today. Sergio did 24 laps, and I just wanted to see if you wanted to guess his time.
I would guess, let's say, 2:17.
Oh man, that's way far behind. But no, 4.7 seconds. That's a 2-second average above this last generation of car, which is absolutely insane. Now, for the general population who doesn't watch Formula One, they're thinking, "Oh, there it is." They're thinking, "Oh, it's only 4 seconds." 4 seconds is forever because if you watch like the finish line camera, you see the guy in first place come, and then you see the guy who's in fourth place. That 4 seconds feels like a generation. You feel like your life ended by the time the other guy comes. So I'm going to give it off to the boys to give their thoughts on this one.
Yeah, man, I think it's a tough topic, it's of course like I said, F1's about numbers. If you're, like I said, if you're 5 seconds behind, you can go from anywhere of being tied to first to being tied with last. You know what I mean? So when you have such a big gap like that, it doesn't look good. It doesn't make it look entertaining. When you see numbers are close and you're like, oh my gosh, like these guys are like neck and neck. I mean, going back even just the point system of last year with Max being 1 point away, which I almost called last year by the chance, of his comeback, failed miserably. But again, it's you want it to be close, and it's kind of funny how we started with NIL with all the monies, big schools, but now F1 also the kind of same thing is the bigger teams got the more money, so those guys should be putting more money into the cars, especially like a team like McLaren. And like just again going back to what Lando said, how can you be a champion of last season and then now all of a sudden come out and say your car's too slow? And then numbers, like you just imagine numbers are just going to be awful for them. And I mean, Piastri second place, Lando fourth. I mean, top five, still where you want to be at. But as winners, you should be number one, number two, and it's not that they don't have the talent. Oscar Piastri and Lando proved that all season long, being neck and neck. Those are top drivers coming into 2026. So it's like the top grid, I think, is phenomenal. I think your top leaders are who you expect your top leaders to be. I think the outstanding, the sore thumb here is Kimi Antonelli. He's such a young driver, but an absolute monster in that car. And then again, like you should look at the bottom grid. The top, the last 10 are the cars you expect to be in the bottom 10. And it's just funny because year after year you get that result. Of course, Max Verstappen not didn't get testing today, but of course would have been number one. But I think there's you want it to be close as an F1 fan. You want to see that last place only lost by 0.5 seconds. You want to see second place lost by 0.001 second. You know what I mean? You want to see that. It gives the I have to watch the next race to see who wins. And I think that's why last season was such a success, is everyone tuned into that world championship and said, Lando can screw this up and Max could still win, because the numbers were so close. And I think it's like that in any sport. You know what I mean? I know it's completely off topic, but you go back to the Super Bowl, it wasn't a close game. So it was boring. No one wanted to watch it. F1, you want it to be close. Soccer, you want it to be close. Baseball, you want sports to be close, especially between the top dogs. And if you don't have that, no one wants to watch it. So I think F1 hopefully can fix that to make it more interesting.
Yeah, and then too, that just kind of goes for the sporting world overall. Because we see F1, since this is our topic, we wanted it to be closer. Okay, they made some adjustments, they made some changes, made some rules to where, okay, now we have cars that are closer. So if you think of to what we were talking about earlier as far as the NIL money and with the college game and what it's come to now, like, okay, well, an NMSU may not be able to compete with an Oregon, or these lower colleges not be able to compete with all these colleges because of the money differentials. And so if there were all these different regulations, all these different rules, and we get what we wanted, would we be pleased and say, like this is what we're hoping for because of the result of the rules and everything? Or would we kind of have a result from like what we are getting with F1 and say, okay, we wanted closer races. Okay, we're getting them, but then now there's all these troubles that go and have this list behind it. So like, what are y'all's thoughts on that?
Yeah, I definitely do like that type of idea, but that just all comes back to like same thing with football, NCAA. The FIA ultimately make all the decisions, and trying to get them to change anything is like when you're a kid and you're at Walmart with your mom and trying to ask her for the new toy. That's most guaranteed a no. So it's like it's kind of pointless because it sucks. I mean, obviously we don't want it to be like NASCAR because NASCAR is boring, but we don't want it like that close where you're on their ass the entire time. But it's just more so like those exciting races. Like I remember watching Austin 2022 or 2023. Lewis got second place, but he was so close to getting first, but he overtook Max and ultimately got second place. And like that race right there was amazing. Then you had I think it was Mexico 2023 as well, where it was Fernando Alonso. He caught Sergio Perez in his own city on the very last lap to take over that position, to ultimately kick Sergio Perez out of podium. And it's like those type of competitive races that are awesome. Granted, Max was 20 seconds ahead or so, but even then, like now, this is a massive problem. And like Christian said, if we implement these types of regulations to where you kind of make it even, because not a lot of people know this, but Ferrari, they get something, I think it's like a lineage credit every year where, Ferrari was the very first Formula One team ever established. And they're also the longest running Formula One team. So every year they get an additional amount of money to support their car, from their, as well as the winnings that they got from the previous year. So I don't think you should take that away from Ferrari. They deserve it. They've been in the game forever, but at least try to even this shit out because we all know Monaco's a snooze fest. But then again, I don't want to see Australia because Australia is always an exciting race, but like you don't want to see these usually like long spanned out races between first and second. I want to see fights. Those exciting fights between Lando and Oscar, those exciting fights between the midfield and the backfield, or even Lewis trying to creep up from seventh place all the way, to towards the front, or even Max fighting George. Those types of fights, but I just don't see that coming right now. That's what's going to suck.
Yeah, like when you and it too is like it takes away from what a whole organization can do with the amount of funds, the skill, whether it comes from the driver, from the top dog to the engineering team in F1. When we go to sports, you think of a general manager, from your training staff to your players, to offensive coordinators, whatever the case may be. And it's like, okay, we have the chance to create our own culture and build around what we have and start from the inside and work our way out. And then when we have something like this, where it kind of evens out the playing field, and we have these chances where we can see, let's say, Oscar Piastri along with an Ollie Behrman, for example, in F1, or in, let's say, football, for example, we have New Mexico State compared to an Oregon. It's like, okay, now, is it cool that they're getting closer now too? Yes. Like, is it games maybe be more interesting? Yes. But how much does it take away from the natural skill that the organizations, the top dogs, and the athletes themselves, how much does it take away from them being able to put all of their skill and talent out there, whether it be on the track or whether it be on the field?
Luke, finish us off.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think this whole discussion takes me back to this season alone. You had Hulkenberg get a podium in a kit car. Like, that's what you want to see. You always want an underdog story in sports, and like when the dude won it, social media was blowing up for the guy. And to see a guy like him who's been in F1 and like finally get his podium was like, that would have, and like if that was the end of the season, fantastic way to go out. But I think, like I said earlier, I think F1 is just, you have your top dogs, and when you get them too close with the guys at the bottom who don't have the best skilled drivers, you run the risk of collisions. You run the risk of, people not being able to control the car the way they're supposed to, running into someone. And so I think the conclusion is F1 has lots of fix. I think, and if they can fix it right, it can be another great season for F1 fans, and hopefully they turn this plane around and say, you know what, let's fix this, let's get this right, and let's just have another great year and for all the fans worldwide.
Awesome. And with that comes to the end of episode 4. But we do have a few announcements, including a very big announcement. We and the boys have been talking about this. I'm super excited. I get excited with every episode that we drop, but we are dropping a brand new show, part of the CN7 Sports Media family. So for all of you fight fans, if you love UFC, if you love boxing, these boys right here, I'm hyping them up because I love the dog water out of them. These boys right here, they make all of us look like casuals. Even though we might love fighting, we might love boxing, we might love MMA, these three are nowhere near casuals. These boys do not miss a fight, even if it's a snooze fest, which is hardly ever a snooze fest. We got my brother, Devin, and we got his two best friends, Mason and Jane. They are officially joining the CN7 Sports Media family. That episode will drop Sunday night. I don't know if there's any boxing going on that night, but there is a UFC fight night coming up. It's Sean. I think it's Sean Strickland. Yeah, Sean Strickland and Fluffy Fight is coming up, and you guys are going to get an episode from Devin's Corner. That is the official name of it. I love it, and the boys love it. We're super excited to officially kind of branch out into the fighting community and bring a whole new community to us. Looking forward to next week. NFL Combine is going to be in full swing. Formula One obviously is going to be developing, and also Drive to Survive drops next week as well. I think it's towards the tail end of next week. And Caleb and Tomas, we're going to actually get them to watch it. so they can kind of get in the know, see what it's about, hopefully, because that's how Christian got into it. It was actually through Drive to Survive. So, without further ado, thank you guys for joining us. If you stayed to the end, we love you. We appreciate you. Tomas is going to get those clips out hopefully tomorrow by end of the week. We appreciate you. We love you. When we go, we will see y'all next week. Peace.